Hello, people. Welcome to It's Okay to Be Okay. It's episode 22. Can't believe it. I'm one of your hosts, Melissa, and today we have Jennifer Buck and Crystal Hood with us. Today we're going to explore how misunderstanding thought makes us try to rescue or fix our partners, kids, or friends, even when our hearts are in the right place. We're going to talk about why we think their suffering is our responsibility, how control shows in subtle ways like giving advice, correction, silent withdrawal, all these kinds of things, and real life examples in our own lives. So, anyone want to hit it off with today?
I mean, I can just start by saying I love this topic. I love this topic for this time of year because, this is the time of year that we see people we don't always see, family members, get togethers with friends and family and all that stuff. And I don't know about you guys, but there's usually always, there's that one person, right? Or something where you're like, oh, how are they going to be? Are they going to behave themselves? Are they going to throw a tantrum? Are they going to even show up? Are they, it's just all of those things that we wonder about the people who may be suffering in our lives. And the beautiful thing about the principles and this understanding is now we see them differently. We see that they have perfect well being and that they're just lost in a misunderstanding. And so that makes it really tricky because then we just want to save them all.
Yeah.
We just want to hop right in and stick our nose wherever it doesn't belong without being invited and say, I'm here to fix you, whether you want my help or not. And that's that whole word right there, fix. That's where people trip because they don't need to be fixed. They need to be seen. They need to be understood. They need space and they need to come to a place inside themselves where they want to say, hey, let's have a conversation instead of us being like, oh, let me tell you something. I got the secret and I'm going to share it with you, whether you want to know it or not. And that's kind of what happens. And I've said before in an episode, I know the drama triangle, we make them, we're so excited about what we have. And so we just want to go into our loved ones and we don't want to see them suffer. And we know that we can help them. So we say, hi, I'm going to help you. And they didn't ask for our help. And then that takes them into a victim mentality. And then they get a little bit frustrated with us for looking at them that way. And it just kind of comes right back on you because now there's more in a defensive mode. I didn't ask for your help. Why are you looking at me like something's wrong with me? There's so much stories that go on in people's heads. So, that was a big ramble for how much I love this topic for this time of year. Anybody else, feel free to jump in.
I love what you were saying, and I just wanted to kind of go off of that a little bit. When we look at someone like they're broken and they need fix, that's our own thinking. And those are our own stories in our head about who they should be, how they should be. And when we have stories about someone, we show up to them differently. And then we're like in this circle of telling how they shouldn't let their thoughts cloud what they see when our thoughts are clouding what we see. Because we're looking at them through the stories we have. And it's hard to do, We are human, we have lots of thinking. And it's really hard when you can't see that they're just stuck in a misunderstanding. When I first learned this, I tried teaching my kids and I tried teaching my husband, and they did not want to hear a word that I said. It wasn't until I could see that they were fine. When I stopped trying to fix the behaviors I didn't like with my son and started magnifying, zooming in on when he was in his well-being and how he felt during that time and looking at him from there, then as things came up, we could look at them together and see how the principles were at play. Yeah, my husband didn't want to hear things, and I still don't really tell him things. He'll now ask questions, and he gets this. He gets this understanding so much. But he was very much already a in the moment kind of guy. Now he's just not trapped by as many stories of who he thinks he is and who he thinks he needs to be. So he was already like halfway there. He had most of this down. The more I tried to teach them and get people to get this, the less they wanted to talk to me and the less they wanted to be around me. And the more I started living and being able to, and it doesn't work with everyone, but when I was having a moment when I knew my thinking was going crazy and I was struggling to become present, I would explain to him what I was doing. Like, dude, don't talk to me right now. Like I'm concentrating on not concentrating, so don't make me think, damn it. This is what I'm doing. This is working for me. Leave me alone for a minute while I get there. And but the more I just practiced it myself, catching myself in my stories and being able to pull myself out of it. Not even pull myself out of it, just being able to recognize it and allowing it to flow through. Um, that's when other people started catching on.
I love this topic because this area, like relationships, is one of the biggest areas in my life that has dramatically changed. Like night and day relationships. Like I used to struggle with relationships. I had toxic relationship with my dad, my mum, my brother, friends, like I'd lose friends. And through this understanding, my relationships have just completely shifted. So that on its own is just incredible. And what I found is, like you, Jen, like I was trying to help my dad for ages. I was trying to change him. And like we said before, basically we're telling them that they're broken, they're not worthy of being who they are. And I remember making this decision. I said, I'm going to accept him for exactly who he is right now. I'm not going to try and change him. And that's when things really started shifting with my relationships. When I stopped trying to change people, when I stopped trying to change my brother, when I stopped trying to change my mum's behavior, when I stopped trying to change my dad, that's when my relationships really started to take a shift. And now I can hand on my heart say I have amazing relationships with people, incredible relationships. I'm so grateful. And I do sometimes still have the tendency to stick my nose in. You know, I am human, and it's hard sometimes when you can see that they're suffering and you know the answer is so simple. Like a few of my family members are suffering with health issues and other things, and I'm like, shut up. You know, like they haven't asked you, don't say anything. And then I remember before, like there was this kind of like guilt that would come up. It was like, well, if I know this, surely I'd be a bad person if I didn't say this to other people. And then they, you know, I was like, no, it's not my responsibility. And I think that's the one thing is when we learn something like this that can change your life, that will change your life, it's the responsibility. It kind of goes like, oh, I need to tell people this now because it's life-changing. But one thing I want to say right now is it's not our responsibility to change people. The best way that we can help people is be the living example of it. And yeah, that is when my relationships really took a shift, is when I stopped trying to change people. I accepted them fully for who they were, even in the things that I myself didn't like. You know, like my dad's rage with computers used to drive me fucking bonkers. And we would have so many arguments. And now I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm not raging because he's raging. I'm raging because I'm having thoughts about him. I'm going to accept him for exactly who he is. All the good, all the bad. Well, what I consider good or bad. There is no good or bad. But when I accepted that, yeah, like David says, all boats rise to the tide. And if they don't, then people fall out of your life. You know, I had friends before I understood this properly, this understanding. I tried to change friends. I could see that they were suffering, and I would like go in like a missile right into their soul. And then I got surprised by the response, which was like, what the fuck? Get out of my life. Like, you know, and I'm like, oh, but I was only trying to help you. You know, like my heart was in the right place. But at the end of the day, like Jen, like Crystal said, when we essentially give advice or tell someone something that they haven't asked for, we are saying that you are broken. We're saying that who you are right now is not good enough. Yeah, I don't know if you guys want to speak on that.
Yeah. Um, I think one of the key things too for everybody to know is we don't change people. We facilitate, we guide, we point in the right direction, but that change will never come from us. It comes from inside them, and we all know it because all of our changes came from inside us. If we could magically turn the key on everybody in our lives that are hurting, we would just do it without their permission. That's me. I'm being honest. The people in my life that I see suffering and hurting, I would, if I had the key, I would just, whether they wanted me to or not. But it's not that simple. It's not that simple. And yeah, when you're not invited in to have a conversation with somebody, then you just have to respect that. Respect those boundaries, respect that they're a human being. And
You also got to not underestimate the power of planting little seeds.
oh, yeah.
Okay, not everyone is going to hear this right away. Not everyone is going to accept it. But it's those little seeds that you can plant, that you can just put out there. You never know when it'll take root, and don't get discouraged, because it's the best thing we can do to help the people we love is look within and get more centered ourselves. Because we change the world by changing ourselves. You know, it starts with each one of us. And the deeper we understand and the more grounded we become, the more it just trickles out without having to do anything but be. The real work is always inside on ourselves. And that is the most important work we can do to help the people we love. Because the more grounded and centered we are, the more we're allowing them to find themselves and be grounded and centered. And when we meet people exactly where they are, it brings out the best in them.
not only that as well, like, when we get ourselves involved without being asked, we could also be getting involved in a lesson that they'll be learning. You know, I look at my life and all the things that I've done and things I've gone through and see them as lessons, and they've created this person I am now. Like, and it takes. So I was around my brother's house, and his girlfriend had a blood clot in the brain, a hemorrhage, and so she
Aneurysm.
can't. Yeah, and I've always been trying to help. I tried to help them and help him and things like that. And I was around there a couple of weeks ago, and I was just watching. I was just people watching. I didn't say anything or anything like that. And I could see how caring my brother was with her and how they were like, it was just a really beautiful thing to watch. And I was like, I'm not meant to help them because this is teaching them something. You know, and sometimes when we get involved in other people's, we might be getting in the way of them learning something from the struggle that they're in. I think that's a really powerful thing as well. Like sometimes we might be taking a lesson away from someone by getting involved.
Yeah. You know what comes to me there? It's like kind of saying, "Oh, hey, you know what? Mind, the principle of mind, step out of my way for a minute because I think I know better than you. So let me just go ahead and take over this situation. You just sit back and when I'm done, then you can come back." It just doesn't work that way. And you're right. You never know when you sit back and just give that beautiful space. And that was something, Jen, you were pointing at too with other people. That's the best that we can do sometimes is just sit back and hold beautiful space for them to find in themselves their own grounding, like Jen was saying, and you watching your brother. I mean, and the caring and the lesson that might be there is that beautiful space and allowing them to step into that beautiful space and holding that beautiful feeling for people does so much work on its own, so much of the heavy lifting by itself that we don't need to say anything. We don't
Our
need to
energy
say
does
that,
the work.
right? We don't got to be, oh, but wait a minute. But yeah, absolutely. And I loved also the planting the seeds. Absolutely. Planting the seeds. And you know what? In my house, Jen, my husband, a lot like your husband, they're very similar. My husband is, it's really weird, has always had like so much wisdom about it. But as far as like me talking to him or getting a little further, like, no, dude, he wants nothing to do with it. Nothing. And so, yeah, I just live the principles from me. And it's funny because I've told this to people before, and it's the truth. The one person who really learns a lot is my son, who learns it sarcastically. My 21-year-old son, who will repeat things back to me because he thinks it's funny. Well, he'll say, "Mom, it's just a thought. Mom, what are you chasing?" And he'll laugh. But it's beautiful because slowly, as he tells me stories about his day, I see the change in him. Massive road rage from this young man. And he'll come in sometimes and he'll say, "Mom, you'll be so proud of me." And he'll tell me, how he reacted or didn't react or reacted differently to a situation where he would have just been completely enraged. And so I love it because, yeah, it does trickle down the way it's supposed to, the way it's meant to. And we don't get to force the principles around. Like they will do their thing, and it's having that trust in mind and having that trust and wisdom and just knowing and listening to when to just sh-
Because if we go into a situation thinking, oh, I'm going to fix this person, that is our ego talking. It's not our job to fix people. It's our job to make it safe for people to find themselves.
A question for you. So this question's just come up for one of you guys. So let's say, for instance, you're with a friend and they are struggling with something. They don't really want to hear about what you do or anything like that. How do you respond to them without giving advice?
You be a friend and you
So what
listen.
does that look like?
Listening. For me, it's listening.
Mm.
For me, it's holding the space I was just talking about. Don't have to say anything, principals. Show up right where they are and be their friend. Because most of the time, what people really need is to just have someone hear them, see them, and recognize that they're a human being and give them that beautiful space to just, as they feel comfortable about talking about whatever it is they're going through, they will when we create that beautiful feeling for them to step into, feel safe, and just be their friend.
Jen?
I have a friend, and I don't really talk about this with her. I mean, she knows what I do. Um, but she is going through a life transition, taking care of an elderly relative with Alzheimer's, and just a transition, you know. And she called me the other day struggling because, she was struggling, and I listened to her and I let her get it out. And as she started to calm down, I asked her if I could tell her what I heard. And she said yes. And I told her how her wisdom showed up when she thought she was going to burst, and told her to walk away, and she listened to it. I told her how, um, now, now that you've gotten it out and you breathed a little bit, you're already slowing down and calming down, and you already have ideas of what you need to do next. And I told her that she had this and that she was doing an awesome job, because what she is doing isn't easy and wouldn't be easy for anybody. But yeah,
I love that. I found that I did that with a friend of mine, really suffers with feeling misunderstood, being the black sheep of the family, all that kind of stuff, always having people backstab her, and like you, I let go of anything through principles. And I stopped because we were walking at the time. I stopped, I turned to her and I said, look, I accept you for exactly who you are right now, everything about you, the good, the bad, the ugly, I accept you fully. And I felt this love just pour out of me and into her. She started crying. I was like, that is what this is about. Creating that space, creating that energy to make someone feel so safe. And yeah, I love these three principles and the ability to be able to create spaces like that for people, because that's something that I wish someone had created for me when I was, younger, or even just 5, 6 years ago.
yeah,
So yeah. And just imagine if like all of us, like just us three alone created that space, like how much that like goes out.
right. Because when people find it for themselves, they create the same space. And you don't have to teach the principles or be a coach, or when you understand and you see how it works, and you don't get caught in the illusion that it's coming from the outside, coming at you instead of from you, you can't help but create a safe space, because you stop taking things so personally, because you stop feeding those stories. And there's always going to be those little things that come up, and it's like, oh yeah, I might know it's a story and I might understand what's going on, but I don't care and I want nothing to do with it. And that's okay, because we all, I was struggling with this right here, right before the call. Like, how well do I get this understand? It just, yeah.
This is that perfect thing that you were just talking about right a minute ago. Right a minute ago. That doesn't even make sense. About how sometimes we can see it, but we don't care at that moment
Yeah.
because we're in the illusion right now, and we're not outside of it right now. So we're just allowing ourselves to be that human inside the illusion, knowing that we will come out of it, and not judging ourselves for being in it.
Thank you, Melissa.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. That's exactly kind of where I was going to point you to is, yeah, questioning whether you have this understanding.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You're
It's
one of
gonna
the most,
slap you around the face. It's like, oh my god, are you serious?
one of the most beautifully grounded people I've ever seen in my life. At
Mhm.
the end of the day, you're still a human being, Jen. Absolutely. But your awareness, you know, you know exactly that it's your thinking. You know where you're at. That's the beautiful part with you, Jen. You know exactly where you are. So, as your friend, I'm not concerned. Not concerned about it because I know that your wisdom speaks louder than anything else. And if you've got to be human, holy shit, we all have to be human. So just rest in it for a minute and don't beat yourself up because you know that you will do it gracefully and you will come right back to being centered. But we all lose our shit sometimes. And I'm right there with you, Jen.
uh,
Absolutely.
but it's also things like this that make you want to shove this understanding down everybody's throat.
It
Yeah,
does.
Like,
because like, if
fuck.
they understood, then I wouldn't be having this issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. If this was taught from day one,
Mm.
Yeah.
so many issues would not be. I mean, yeah, I'm sure there would be some. Anytime the human factor is a factor, there's issues. But, we don't, there's so much suffering and violence and hate that doesn't have to be.
Mm.
And it's like, it makes you want to shout this from the rooftops and get damn billboards like,
Do you
stop
know
it.
what? It's funny you said that because even just like, the thing that happened in Australia the other day, like
Yes.
I'm reading it and then I'm going into this daydream and I'm like, I'm literally doing what you just said. I'm shoving it down people's throats. I'm like, you can't fight fire with fire.
Yeah.
Um, because that happens and then more anger and then more anger and it's like, oh, it's like you have to love. And I know that that's really hard because when you've got people that are shooting people for no reason out of hatred, like, how am I supposed to love that person? That's another thing where there'll be a lot of thinking involved. Like, I
Yes.
have a lot of thinking about people that do that,
Yes. And
but
it's
it's
just
like,
like, oh,
yeah, because what I also know is you can't fight fire with fire. You
no.
can't hate someone. It's like loading a gun up, putting the bullet in, and then giving it to someone else for them to shoot you.
Yeah.
That's what hate does.
But because this misunderstanding, the illusion is so strong,
Yeah.
it just creates more thinking and more hate and more violence and more thinking. And everybody's head gets louder and louder with their opinions, with their thoughts, with what the media says, that everyone's getting further and further away from their wisdom, fighting to say it's right when if you could just see your thinking, take that pause for a minute, the world would dramatically change for the
It's like
better.
it's like at the minute everyone is in this kind of is being controlled. Like I see it as a movie of like, have you seen what's it called? There's a movie where basically they're all injected with something and then they're made to do things that they don't want to do. And by the end of the movie they all kind of the woman saves them and breaks the illusion or whatever, and then they all kind of come awake. It's like that's what I see this as like, if we just come awake to our own thinking,
Right.
we'll put the guns down.
Yes. So simple. We won't hate so much. We won't take everything so personally and attack. And I mean, we need to have a massive death to the ego, is what we need.
Yeah. It's crazy, isn't it?
And until then, it's like we plant little seeds, we put it out there any way we can, and we don't force people.
Mhm.
And that's hard. So, me, I'm like, well, then how do we trick them? How do we trick them to get it? Let's make a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Maybe we should cut that part out. Sorry, guys.
I'm leaving it in. Movie coming to you by Jennifer Buck. This is a good topic that we did come on to children because, Jen, like you, I'm awkward around kids. Like, I get on really well with kids when I'm playful. Like,
Yes.
I will be the child. And then when it's no longer playtime, I'm like, I'm awkward now. And I think that's something that is come up for a reason for both of us to let go of that. Because that is, again, we're just thinking
Right.
that we're awkward. We're not.
Because when I'm when I'm around other kids, when I'm around my cousin's kids, when I'm around my grandkids, no, I love these kids. I love these kids and I love seeing how they see things. I love to try to, you know, understand what they're seeing because they don't see the same things as us. And that's amazing. There's so much wonder and curiosity, and I love that. But if you tell me I'm going to be around kids, then I'm like, no, I don't want to go. So it's a thought that I have in my head because once I'm around them, I'm good. I still don't think I could ever teach a class full of them, though.
Oh,
I really think teachers should get paid way more money.
yeah. Teachers, like my best friend is a teacher, and I'm like, how do you do that? And she teaches young kids as well, and it's like, oh my God, the energy,
Yeah.
chaos, the snotty noses.
Yes.
I think for
But
me, it was
then,
like the constant question.
as soon as you have a kid, Melissa, you're not going to feel awkward. You're going to know what to do with your kid until you stop and think about, what do I do with this kid?
Yeah. It's crazy though, because I have daydreams all the time. Like before, like, I guess it last 2-3 years, I guess my mind started to change when it come to kids. Before that, I was not having children. I was adamant that I was never going to have children. And then I can remember, like, I was starting getting thoughts of children in my mind, and I'm like, fuck off, go away. What are you doing? Go away. I do not want my mind changed. And then obviously, as the more I've kind of let go, the more I've kind of understood this understanding and stuff. I'm like, okay, think I'm supposed to be a mum, but I'm not attached to it. But yeah, I don't even know where I was going with that. Lost my train of thought. The 3 principles. I think the 3 principles can be scary because I was actually starting to get afraid when my thoughts started changing. When I started having more, well, maybe I do want a kid. And then it was kind of like these 2 different thoughts that I was used to, like, no, never. And then these new thoughts were coming in. I'm like, well, what is going on here? Like, my thoughts are changing. And that can be scary as well. It can be quite scary. But I wouldn't change it for the world.
I think you'll make a great mom, Melissa.
I look forward to the day. Not yet.
I don't know.
Go
I've
ahead.
seen a couple of blind spots I've had.
Go
I
on.
have a blind spot with kids because I do just fine with them. But if I have to think about going to talk to them, no, I don't. No. And I'm just going to let that be. I'm fine with that thought right now because I love my grandkids. My youngest is 13 and a man. He's not little anymore at all. Um, okay, question. Like, sometimes I question myself on how well I get this or if I'm pretending, right? But then it's like, well, no, my entire life has changed and I'm not on meds and I'm not crazy. But it's like when I don't have thinking, I'll have thinking about not having, and then I try to talk myself out of like the good feeling because it's very subtle and very, and it's like, no, that can't be it. I think I want something bigger.
So what's the question?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
I don't know. I guess I'm wondering, do you guys question your quietness? Do you question your stillness? See, this probably shouldn't even be on the podcast. So
No, this
Why?
is because we're human.
I don't know.
And
We're
I think we all have different answers, which
yeah.
is beautiful. No, I don't. I don't question the quiet. I don't question the stillness. I don't question the principles. And I really and honestly think it's because it was bam, smack, here you are, brand new understanding. You get it all. I'm not saying get it all, but you know what I mean? Like, there was no one comfortable with the quiet. There was no one comfortable with the space, the pause. There was no uncomfortableness anywhere. And so, no, I accidentally pull myself out of a quiet mind sometimes, not because I'm like, ooh, feeling or, ooh, am I doing this right? But I will be just with no thought and present. I mean, you know what it is? Sometimes I go, ooh, this feels nice. And as soon as I do that, I've pulled myself out of being present. Um, but I don't struggle with it. And
Well, no, I'm not talking like struggle. Okay, I'm talking, it's weird. Okay. So I'm like sitting here like, do I go apply this week or next week to get a job and put this on the back burner and not? But I also like, I have no doubt that this is what I'm going to do. I question the lack of doubt. I question my faith in knowing that it's going to be okay. Not because it's not there, but because it's so solid and I know it so much underneath
Yeah, I get
that
what you're
it's like,
saying.
am I being blind? Am I?
Oh, being naive.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I saying I get it as well. Like sometimes I have I'll get like, God, I don't even know how to talk right now. What you just said, I totally get it because I feel that as well. Like sometimes, like I know I'm supposed to be successful. I know all of this stuff. Like it's like I know my name. It's not a belief; it's a knowing. And sometimes I'm like, well, am I just deluding myself? Is it real? And then I'm like, yeah, of course it's real. And then I look around like, yeah, but is it? And like, yes, it is. Like I have this kind of conversation with myself and was like, I know it's real, but because I know it's real, I'm constantly looking for validation of it. And that looking for validation of it is keeping me allowing it to come in, if that makes sense.
Yes. The stronger that gets for me, that feeling of, I'm gonna be okay, and this is what um, recently, the more an old thought I haven't had in a long time, which is, "This is just a symptom of your mental illness."
I remember like when we have our beliefs and they're at the edge of being eradicated, then we're going to have thoughts that pop up because to our nervous system, it's just trying to keep us safe. You know,
Right.
sometimes it feels like my mind knows, but my nervous system isn't quite ready for it, or it's not quite allowing it in because I must still be believing thoughts in the background that's connected to my nervous system. And that's kind of like, that's a good thing for me as well, because then it's like telling me, okay, I'm still believing stuff that's not true. Because otherwise my nervous system would be aligned with how I'm thinking now. And at the minute it feels kind of like that, like a bit,
Mhm.
but I know it's all just thinking. But at the minute my conscious thoughts are, I'm very aware of my conscious thoughts, and there's still stuff in the background that I'm not quite aware of, like there's something in the boot of the car that's rattling around. And so I'm taking it, I'm being grateful for it, like the nervous system's not moving forward, but I'm grateful for it because it's showing me that I need to remove something from the boot. That's all it is. If that makes sense.
It does, it really does. I just, yeah, just wanted to know. Was just
Yeah.
curious.
And it's just allowing ourselves to wait for the insight to come and not trying to force it. It's allowing ourselves, you don't have to go into the boot to try and find it. Just know that there is something rattling there that wants to come out, and being patient and just knowing that it will sort itself out. You
Mhm.
might go over a bump and the hood will open up and then it'll flop out.
Yeah.
you know? But you just don't know when that bump's gonna come.
I feel like this might be a good time to tell you guys to like, comment, share, subscribe, reach out, and let us know what you've heard, what you'd like to hear, any questions you may have. Um, we're here.
Yeah, it's been an amazing podcast. I've really enjoyed it. So see you later, everyone.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
One,